Did the 49ers to you prove last night they are clearly the NFC's, if not the NFL's best team?
Well, they proved to me, certainly, that they have an ability to be that, like they've shown us all year. But I'm going to tell you what I believe really takes them over the top when I'm really worried about them. And they started getting back to it. The last 3 games, Deebo Samuel has 14 receptions on 17 targets. 14. When you work your offense through Christian McCaffrey, you work your offense through Brandon Ayuk. I'm like, well, that's a great offense. When you work it through Deebo Samuel, I get more afraid of you. Let me tell you why. Because each play pumps up the whole team because he's the blood, heart, and soul of that team. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it becomes a different thing. I think they're a great team. They're starting to get to there. When this thing goes through Deebo, then I worry because it's back to being that physical force that brought us problems. Remember last year, Deebo was saying, Coach, give me the ball. When he was running back, he just becomes such a force. And every time he runs so hard, he gets everybody else hyped. When they find that form, all the way back in that form, and they started working towards it yesterday, he had the most targets yesterday. They understand what I'm talking about. That's when they become unstoppable. Brandon Ayuk, and he's been playing well. They had 50 yards yesterday, a big play, 28 yards up the field, and all that's great. But it reminds me a lot of me. I see other guys making plays, and everybody, but you tap them on the butt, that's a great play. But I want to bring up the whole team with everything you do, every play you make. I used to always get upset when people say, man, why don't you just score a touchdown and hand it to the ref like Barry Sanders? I love Barry Sanders. We all love Barry Sanders. But I like scoring a touchdown and being hyped and making sure my defense come out here hyped so they can stop somebody so I can score another touchdown. And we live in Hypeville. And that's what Deebo Samuel brings this San Francisco team. Those 3 games, those 3 losing streak that they had, it was because he was over there on the sideline. Now he's back, and they're on a 3-game win streak. So, yeah, they're a dangerous team, but not even as dangerous as they can be. And I shouldn't have even said all of that on TV. I should have made them figure that out by themselves.
Yeah, okay. Go, Greg.
For me, they are. They really are. Just, you know, I go back to my time playing, and this team just was always a nemesis for us and the thorn in our flesh, just because if things aren't going well for them, they can play a physical brand of football that typically seems to be unmatched by a lot of teams in this league.
Right.
And if Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan are starting the game off, you talk about Deebo Samuel. For me, it's Christian McCaffrey and Deebo. Because when you start the game off with these first 15 plays, everybody goes through these first 15 plays all week long. And so you're excited about the play number that is yours. Well, the way that they start games off the last few games is by getting the ball in the hands of McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. Jacksonville, it was the first 2 plays to McCaffrey. Against the Buccaneers, it was McCaffrey, then Kittle. And then yesterday, it started off with McCaffrey. If you can start Brock Purdy with something simple, an easy completion, a handoff to jumpstart this offense. They typically get it going. They're a fast starting team as well. And then it goes to their defensive side of the ball. When they get pressure on the quarterback, it just simplifies everything for them defensively. Like adding Chase Young into the mix, we all know what he can do as far as rushing the passer, but we've seen Nick Bosa come alive now. And the physical brand of football that the 49ers are accustomed to putting on display is starting to show its head. And at this point in the season, that is what teams don't want to see. You don't want to see a 49ers team start to rekindle what you know allows them to become so successful. Your point of getting Deebo the ball, I think with the interchangeability of he and Christian McCaffrey, the more you can create formation variation and provide stress on defenses with those 2 individuals, the better off you are. And you have a young quarterback who continues to have to prove himself each week. You got to find out ways and create ways to get the ball in their hands quick and allow them then to be as special players that they are after they get the ball in their hands.
Before you go, Skip, let me say, now what I think, too, when I see this, I say to myself, okay, that's the same offense Miami puts up. And you said they're physical. The system is not physical. Deebo is, because it's more of that. It's more of let's catch these blocks on the right angle.
Yeah,
that's why Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan are so great. They're designing angles on the block.
Yeah.
Now you put that force behind someone to design angles on a block, and he's running right into you. That's what I'm talking about. That makes you say, oh, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, I cannot tell a lie. The 49ers just knocked me out of my chair last night. They were a tour de force on both sides of the ball, and I just sat back in awe of it. But as I always say, I disqualify myself because I see the world through metallic blue-colored glasses, as in cowboy-colored glasses. And I'm still clinging to this notion, crazy competitive that I am, I'm clinging to the notion that I do want Dallas to see San Francisco again this postseason. The truth is, my quarterback, our quarterback, Michael, number 4, he has stunk against the 49ers in 3 straight games, right. 2 of them playoff games, and 1 of them this year's regular season game at San Francisco on a Sunday night, 42-10. We actually played a very good game last year at San Francisco in the playoffs, and Dak threw them 2 first-half interceptions and missed 4 or 5 throws in the second half. You just can't miss in what was still a close game. So I still cling to the notion that the team I saw in Dallas yesterday is capable, has the nuclear capability of beating this San Francisco team there or at Jerry World, wherever it is, maybe there. The way it's going right now in the postseason, if it comes to that. And the only X factor I can give you is that young quarterback for San Francisco. And Greg, you mentioned Brock Purdy. Yeah. Always under fire. Is he or isn't he? He was Mr. Irrelevant, then he's very relevant, and then he's leading the league in QBR, and he's in the MVP discussion. For a while, he was the MVP. Then they lost 3 in a row because he lost his way a little bit as a second-year player. And there's some Favre going on in this kid, and he played this way. I watched him a lot at Iowa State. He will try some things that you just shouldn't try. And the only hope I see is that he doesn't pull them off, because routinely he pulls it off. And you sit back and say, my God, how did he do that? And he's more athletic by the game than I think. Last night, he can move, man. He can move and he can run.
Then he looks. Yeah. Right. More athletic than he looks, and he can move around.
Yeah.
Got that Tony Romo stuff on him.
Yeah,
like, you don't know he can get away from you. How did he get away from you? Yeah, it's interesting to watch.
Okay. So the point is, are they loaded? Yeah, they are. I thought maybe they'd miss Ufanga last night because they've lost him for the year at safety. But, man, they put the clamps on DK Metcalf last night. It looked like they were in his head. Ward was in his head, whoever was covering him. I mean, he had 9 targets last night and caught 3 for 32 and just seemed out of it all night. But remember, look, I respect what Geno has done for himself, leaving New York and sort of recreating himself. And as he said, they wrote me off and I didn't write back. And I love that line. And I love his sort of second act of his career in Seattle. But he played last night with a banged-up triceps, a deeply bruised triceps on his throwing arm. I don't love him. I'm not sure he is the ultimate answer to replace Russell Wilson in Seattle. And last night, he had a QBR of 15 on a scale of 0 to 100. He did not play well. They didn't play well. And if you let San Francisco front run and just take the ball on its first possession and just run it right down your throat, you're probably going to lose. They will front run over you. So, again, was I shocked by what happened last night? I wasn't shocked, but I still cling to that notion that Dallas is still capable of beating this team.
Yeah, and this is going to be an interesting game coming up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand that Dallas, they have the potential to beat this team. But I go back to my time playing, and I don't do this often. But when we played the San Francisco 49ers, I don't know what it was, but it was like that was a game and a team that Aaron, specifically our quarterback, struggled against.
He never has played well against.
And it just trickled. It trickled down throughout the entire team. And when I watched Dak Prescott against that team, I scratched my head and I'm like, man, this team is one of those teams that he struggles with. And so if you can avoid this team at all costs, avoid them. I don't see how you, as a Dallas fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, how you would embrace, oh, you know what? Let's run down that alley against that team that beats and bruises us up every time we run into them. No, you don't want that. For me, when I look at the 49ers, they understand, and I spoke about this with the Dallas Cowboys, them dictating the terms of which you play the game. That is who the 49ers try to be. And more often than not, against the Cowboys, they dictate those terms because they are the team that you look at and you say, you know what? We got to out-physical them. Well, no, you really don't. You just have to play your brand of football and allow them to try to then, because you said it, Skip, they're a front-running team. If you get out in front of them, if you cause them to play on your terms, they're a completely different team. But what tends to happen is they dictate the terms of which they like to play because they'll take the ball, they'll put it in the end zone, and now you understand they have a pass rush that thrives off getting after the quarterback. Their secondary is not great. But because of their pass rush and the effectiveness that they put and the pressure that they put on opposing quarterbacks, you don't have to be great because you don't have to cover that long. And that's what this team kind of hangs their hat on. And so when I look at the way that they play and the way that they try to play every single week, week in and week out, in the National Football League, specifically the NFC, this is the team that plays most consistently their style of football every single week. That's why I say that they're the best team. I'm not saying in all of football, but definitely in the NFC.
So, Michael, quick question to you. Your last time that you guys won the Super Bowl coming off the 95 season, you did not have to face San Francisco in that postseason. Was that a big advantage?
Well, we had the upper hand at the time. You know what I mean? And we had been dominating San Francisco, so we felt pretty good. It wasn't us needing to get over the hump. It was Steve Young needing to get over our hump. Like now it's Dak Prescott's time to get over that hump. These things have always... it's gone that way. You know what I mean? You got Roger Staubach was running this thing until they got Joe Montana. Then Joe said, wait a minute. Let me put you down. And he took that thing until we got Troy Aikman. And Troy said, wait, we taking it back. And then Steve Young got it in his Dak's turn. I understand what you're saying, Greg. If you can get there by going old Skip the Lure right on around it, do it. But I wouldn't mind if you exercise this demon and get it out of here. Let me see that Steve Young get this monkey off my back scene for Dak Prescott. See somebody literally get this, no, not that monkey, that 300 million ton gorilla and throw it off his back so we can start moving forward. I want to exercise that demon.
Okay, but Michael, when Steve Young finally broke through against your Dallas Cowboys, he had Dion on his side, right? Didn't that matter? Didn't that sort of tilt the playing field in his favor?
It certainly helped tilt the playing field in their favor. Of course, those 3 turnovers and 21 points we gave them early on really helped also. Then we had to play from behind. You know, of course, Dion's, you know how Dion is. This phenomenal guy. That's when I called Dion and said, hey, even though I had 12 catches, almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, which were records at the time. After that game, I called and said, hey, aren't we like best friends? Why are we fighting each other on the field? We should be playing together. He said, yeah, I'm going to come on to Dallas. That's how I got him to Dallas. I said, let's stop this madness. You know what I mean? Because there's no need of us fighting. So, yeah, it did go down that way. But it's Dak's turn now, Skip. It's Dak's turn to take it back. And I understand, Greg, what he's saying. We'll get there if you can get there. You want to avoid it, but I want you to exercise this demon so it can't just be a one-time affair. You can have confidence to trying to go back-to-back.
Okay, so, Michael, bottom line, last question. Can you see Dak Prescott outplaying Brock Purdy in a playoff game?
And I would worry about this because Brock Purdy is in a system that allows him to play perfect football, and he can throw all these short passes, 200 yards yesterday. dink dunk, dink dunk, dink dunk. And those guys take it the distance because all of those guys got run after catch ability.
Yeah.
I don't want you worried about going up against him and trying to do that. I want you playing your offense. I want you coming in saying, we're going to do what we do. When we went up against those guys, Skip, they had a great offense. Jerry Rice, greatest receiver in the world. But we stuck what we were a force in a physical football team.
Yeah.
We were not going to dink and dunk. We were going up the field with the football. Do what you do. You got to dance with the babe that got you there. You can't change up on that. That's why I'd rather you exercise these demons.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.